Incredibly, it has been less than a month since Trump's inauguration, but it already feels like an eternity. Pardoned or commuted the sentences of January 6th rioters, withdrew the US from both the Paris Accords and the WHO, announced plans to take over Gaza, issued an executive order trying to undo birthright citizenship, blamed the fatal DC plane crash on DEI, renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, responded to fires in LA County by releasing billions of gallons of water, replaced a four-star general with the host of Fox and Friends as Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, thank you, John Oliver. This is exactly why they voted for Trump. Thanks for the recap. Please do this monthly. If you can do this every time, I'll be impressed. I really like when I see segment like this. He actually put out, though not all, what Trump has done. Now going into something else.
No. It's just a handshake. Yeah, it's just a handshake. Yeah, all right. You're welcome at Black Jeopardy anytime.
All right. Well, thank you, my brother. Maybe I'll start a show for you to come on, and we'll call it What Jeopardy?
No, we don't need it.
More than half the country you're shoving into some kind of stereotypical bullshit box. Hey, since Tom Hanks is coming back from Greece, can we pick up the conversation where we left off when he left? Whatever happened to this girl? You plan on doing any more sexy baby skits on Jimmy Kimmel? What was the deal with all these weird cryptic posts with children's socks on Instagram? Did you ever have a statement for what Isaac Cappy accused you of? You can get one from him, but unfortunately he passed away not long after that video came out. You know, when he talked about you and your buddy Steven Spielberg. It also happened shortly after this cryptic ass picture you put out. But it's okay, we can move on. Hey, remember this iconic photo? How did it get put on a sweatshirt and why? And what was ever going on with this picture? What happened to your eye? Why aren't you allowed to talk? Is that a pizza clock? Man, here in 2025, this is a different group of people to be associated with. What was the deal with this? You were isolating in Australia because you had COVID, but this whole situation was a little weird. Why pose in front of a door that has a barcode? More like county to me, but any Hoosiers, maybe Ricky Gervais has something he could tell us. If you're out here and you're all like, oh my God, that's such a conspiracy, cool. Just so you know, we are here right now. And if you thought all of this stuff with P. Diddy was weird, well, then you're halfway there.
Yes, this lady is impressive. She actually put out the summary of all these. I've decided to be putting out handles so you can see the people posting this video. This is her handle on X. I was impressed when I saw it. Now going into this Star Wars actor, when you take a look at this, Star Wars actor Mark Hamill loses his pan live on TV while presenting an award at the BAFTAs. This is a Trump hater, we know that. I don't know if you've seen this. It's a very short clip. Take a look at this.
So what makes us love cinema so much that we're all gathered here to celebrate tonight? For me, it's that films create worlds so vivid and stories so powerful that we lose ourselves in them completely. They create immersive cinematic landscapes that feel alive, whether they're set here in London or anywhere.
But the fact remains that they're making anyone who voted for Trump look like a racist, and that's why they're mad.
Well, my biggest issue was
and I personally would never do that, because I don't believe that any group is one thing. A lot of these people, in my opinion, have been misled. They thought that grocery prices would come down. They're up. They thought inflation was coming down. It's up. They thought that Medicaid was safe. It's not. They thought Social Security was safe. It's not. So it's not only racism that caused Trump to be in office. We have to remember that. So of course they're going to be insulted. Yeah, we were insulted by Bill O'Reilly when he had a broad stroke on Muslims in the same way. It's the same thing. And if they can do it to them, they can do it to us.
You know, a lot of Americans were having a really bad weekend because of these storms. So over 10 people passed away because of these storms that were hitting the eastern side of the United States. 9 alone dying in Kentucky, people drowning in their cars, tens of thousands without power. President Trump signed the emergency declaration, but he didn't, as far as I know, put out a statement. He didn't go out there. He's not going to meet the families, as far as I have heard. And you say if Joe Biden had done this, if Joe Biden had shown up at the Daytona 500 while there were people living under emergency declarations and passing away in Georgia, a tree fell into a guy's house and ended up killing him.
Do you think this is a fair comparison that you're taking? This is not a a hurricane event. You're talking about storms. So he needs to respond to every single death?
No.
Then he wouldn't be president.
Well, he needs to, I think, say something when the whole point was criticizing Joe Biden for absolutely everything that he ever did. I mean, you
he
said
never
that
did anything. Start with
really?
North Carolina.
That's not true. We've gone through it multiple times about how quickly he signed emergency declarations.
How about East Palestine?
How about you just say that maybe you shouldn't be driving around a race car track when this is going on?
No.
But that's like, you know what that is?
You?
You know what that is? That's like
saying
saying when there is news going on the 5, how dare you have one more thing? You know, when people go, oh, my God, the economy's in and they're doing a pet segment. No, we also do 57 minutes of everything else. Trump does so many things in a day that him driving around in a car doesn't even amount to 1%.
I'm leaving MAGA, why I'm leaving MAGA, I regret my vote. You don't actually regret your vote. You just regret that your vote is now negatively affecting you. You knew that your vote was going to negatively affect some people, and you didn't care then because there's a little bit of a bait and switch with Trump, right? A little bit being, I would say, egg prices and food costs. But aside from that, he's doing everything he said he was going to do. You just didn't think it was going to affect you. But you were okay with it affecting everybody else. Didn't care that he was a convicted felon because it didn't affect you. And it's wild to think that you would think this man wouldn't lie to you, even though he's a convicted felon. That's crazy. And you also didn't seem to care that he was obviously not qualified for the job anymore. And like, listen, I'm glad that you regret who you voted for. You should regret it. But I also think it's really important to do just like a little bit of inner work and ask yourself why you didn't care before. This awful feeling that you're feeling now, your livelihood being affected, how awful that feels, and watching other people that it hasn't affected yet, because it will, them not caring that you're affected. The thing is, we tried to warn you. We tried. Hopefully we get to have another vote. Who knows? It seems as though our government is slowly falling apart, so we may not. Important to remember that billionaires do not have your best interests in mind. They have never and will never have your best interests in mind.
Yes, I decided to put these clips all together so you can see the crazy meltdown. You saw the view. Joy Behar saying things like that. And this lady on Fox News, she's crazy, right? If Joe Biden show up to the Daytona 500, why Kentucky face a devastation storm, he will have been crucified. Comparing this, so the little issue that take place, Trump should rush there. He should address immediately. It's insane. I saw liberals melting down. Oh, Trump is taking money. Oh, look at the motor car. Oh, Trump is doing this. This has been Trump thing before even becoming president. He is for the people. Things other president never did, he is doing now, and we are observing it. So this kind of meltdown I see on a daily basis, to me, it's ridiculous and it's shameful to see people like this coming on TV to say this. It irritates me a lot. Not going back into this crazy
about movies anymore. No.
Yes, if you see his face, it clearly tells you how panicking he was on this segment. Now going back into that video, if you want to really dissect it, it tells you a lot. And I'm not going to talk about that video much. Last week I did a video where these same Hollywood people, this guy went on an award show, went off on Trump, called Trump all sorts of names. I don't know why they are so terrified of this man. Look at what he's doing here.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed.
You see clips after this is just for the algorithm. It helps the channel in a way I can't explain here.
A bully and a thug who's the president of the United States, U.S., it's everywhere.
There is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits. A chance to see what happens when you take a business approach to the government in the White House. We're seeing right now with this whole U.S. aid thing, where they're uncovering massive amounts of corruption.
And also, I got to say, don't you agree? I totally agree.
Essential
early on, immediately.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
To her.
The EU does not treat the U.S. fairly on trade and that he has some big complaints. Is that true?
Right? And it doesn't mean that we should sit and pretend that it's suddenly okay, that this new presidency is just going to keep on keeping on. That is not the case. And
Awful things have happened and sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have.
Future president and his gag are
quality in policy.
The city of the Pacific Palisades is burning. And, I flew here last night. I was on a plane.
You getting water to areas that need...
He's been trained his whole life to do.
What do we do?
Right now you're looking straight. Remember it.
As a country about James.
Yeah, and then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel. I don't know.
Jordan.
Josh Green, the governor. Watch news or talk.
Now look, I have a lot of...
The Democratic Party has about everything.
The next department that appears to be on the chopping block is the Department of Education. Just earlier today...
Well, thank you. Hey, now speaking of church, can I...
In common, they're all terrified of Ronan Farrow.
Is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires.
They're on Team Chiefs. Literally right next to us was Taylor Swift. Those are boo.
Now speaking of church, can I say something?